Okay, now we get to do it the fun way. We're gonna do some shaker cards, and these are not hard to do. And what's really cool is I want you to start looking at not only cards but layouts too, to see where shakers would fit in, because there's lots of little places where you would see like an embellishment and you could think, oh, if I could just put right over that a shaker, and that would look so awesome. So start using those more in your scrapbooking and your card making, and I think you're going to find people really love that interactive element. So let's get started. For prep, we're going to need the white square, and you're going to, I think we're going to use King Purple as the background on that. Oh, that's the ocean blue. Here, King Purple. And we're just going to kind of scribble a little bit, like this, almost in like an oval pattern there. And then you take your shimmer brush, and if you want to just mellow that out a little bit, just go over it. A water brush will work too. I'm going to show you. A water brush looks like this, has water in the tube. That could do the same exact thing, but this way we get a little shimmer. And then we're gonna need our little tiny dots. I don't have my smallest block here, so I'm just gonna put it on the edge. So whenever you don't have the right size block, put it near the corner and you'll get a little more control. And mine is dirty, so it might have trouble sticking. I need to wash these. I have a little mini colander that when these get really dirty, I just throw all the stuff in there and run it through the water and kind of wash them off. This definitely needs that right now. So color for this, see, it keeps falling off. So I'm gonna go wash it real quick. Be right back. I figured while I watched it that I would also change to a smaller block. So, okay, for this color, we're gonna need grape. So get your grape out. We're just gonna put a few dots on this. And I'm turning it to the diamond side, so I can follow along with what Close to My Heart kind of did. Just those 3 spots like that. Super easy. Bring it in for the close-up. Wish I had one of those close-up cameras like Close to My Heart has. That would be awesome. Okay, the other thing we have to prop in is the butterfly. So I'm gonna get, it looks like 2 butterflies here. And I'm going to, again, I'm gonna put this towards the corner, more control, because this is not, this is a little bit big for this stamp. So grab your little pieces that you already prepared, and your black, intense black ink or Memento, whatever works well when you color, so that it doesn't smear, leak, that kind of thing. All right, and then line it up. Not too hard, just like that. And the other butterfly here. All right, so I am off to do some scrapbooking for myself, and maybe some card making too this weekend. And I'm so excited because my whole image in my head is to get through my stash. So I'm going through and doing kits that have been hanging around and getting those done. All right, I'm gonna take this off the foam, I think, while I do this. And let me put it on the white. Maybe that'll make them show up a little better as I'm coloring. So I'm going to color, is similar to the Close to My Heart coloring as I can get, but you don't have to do that. So color it with any of these 4 colors is gonna look awesome because they all go with it. So looks like they used the King Purple at the top. And just like on the other ones, the normal Close to My Heart ones, I'm outlining, and then I'm just gonna bring the color in. So I'm gonna just outline this section. And it looks like it's all the top sections here. and then we'll color them in. Not too hard. Yep, so I'm very excited because I have got, my car is about ready to be packed. I'm taking pretty much everything I own. It feels like it. But it's kits, and I have an album retreat I want to finish up. And okay, so that's going to be your King Purple up there, and then right down here, first section of these lines. And okay, pink is all the other parts. That's the bloom pink. And I think we'll color both of these in, and then we'll take the shimmer brush to them. Okay, and then it looks like they've used the turquoise, or is it the blue? Let me look real careful here. It's so hard to tell. It looks like this smaller one, they've used the turquoise on the body, and this one, I can't even tell what color they've used. So it must be the blue that they've used for the rest of the butterfly here. So that is the ocean blue. And then I'll just use turquoise for the body, since I can tell for sure on the smaller butterfly that's what they did. And it probably makes sense because there's a lot of purple in this paper. So purple and a little bit of the blue. But the turquoise would work just fine. All right, so usually when I go on this weekends with my couple of friends that I go with is usually I take completed layouts and my photos and then just finish, you know, by putting photos on them. But I've done that the last 2 or 3 times, and I am so behind on putting my kits together. So I'm still taking photos because I'd like to get those put in there. Now I'm gonna switch to the turquoise, and I'm gonna go real light since I can barely see what they've got there. And then on the small butterfly, it looks like the outside wing is blue. So yeah, I need to do these kits, but I will try to put photos in wherever it fits. Like that. And then here is pink. The top little part here, and then this part here. And right here, the little dot. It looks like they've left this white. It is so hard to tell. But yeah, I think so. And then I'm a little turquoise on the body, I think. All right, now I'm gonna take my shimmer brush and kind of bring these colors in. Let's see, make sure I don't have leakage like I had before, which was all because I accidentally unscrewed it. Looks screwed in pretty good. All right, now, it doesn't hurt to have a little piece of paper, you know, to dab off on, to kind of get it going. Make sure you got like the amount that you want on there, and also to clean in between colors if you need to do that. I haven't found much of a need to do that on this particular card workshop, but so now I'm just gonna go over all these parts, and I'm basically smoothing that color out so that it doesn't look drawn. And then in these places where I've got the outline, can you see that? Let me get it closer. Where I have outlined it, I'm going to bring that color in. So there's the outline. So I'm gonna just kind of go over that color and then kind of bring it into the middle. And I also wanna make those lines of demarcation go away. So I'm going to color it until those kind of look smooth. And now it looks good. Bring that out close. You want to take a few minutes for that to dry because this is shimmer brush. And we're going to be putting the card together anyway, so you'll have plenty of time to do that. So yeah, I'm not finding a need to clean in between on these because it's just they're not blending into each other. So I think it's pretty good. You may want to clean if you go from dark to like the light pink. but I haven't really had much issue with it. But I do want to just kind of make those lines where I drew go away and bring that color into the middle. It's not a hard technique for sure. And of course you can always just leave it drawn. So you could just color it in like you're coloring with regular colored pencils. But these are watercolor pencils, and they're meant to do this. There we go. Now I'm gonna go in the pink. And then over to the other side. This is, you know, basically the hardest part of the whole card, because even the shaker is not hard. The only thing tricky about the shaker is, you know, making sure your beads or whatever you're putting inside don't start flowing all over. We're going to try a couple different techniques on how to make that so that they don't go everywhere. And they all kind of revolve around the anti-static pouch. See, almost done. All right, let those dry as we put the card together. They'll be done by the time we're ready for them. Get those out of the way. All right, and now we just do a little gluing. And I did forget to get my glue out. I was thinking I was so organized. So, I'm gonna take, let's see if that one still has some, okay. 1A is the pattern piece like this. And that's gonna go on the left-hand side of the card, on the fold. Just line it up right against it. And then on the right-hand side is the purple pattern. For you card makers, one thing that's really helpful on the Close to My Heart page is they do sell bulk paper. They don't usually sell it to non-makers when it's the current paper, but then they do tend to put it up when it's not the current paper. So it's like a pack of, I don't know, at least 12 sheets of the first of two of the patterns in each paper pack. So for card makers that like to make a lot of cards, it's a really good bargain. So you want to look under bulk on my website if you want to do this. So this is the bulk paper for this set, and like I have 12 of each, so it's easy to make a lot of cards all the same. And then you're not buying the whole paper pack for the cards. Okay, now grab this swirly thing, and you're gonna need a glue that's thin. Pen glues are best. And I use this Zig. I know Martha Stewart makes one. Close to My Heart makes one too, but I don't know, I've been having trouble with it. And so I don't like to recommend things that I'm having trouble with. There we go. You know, I don't want you to be disappointed, so I try not to recommend when I feel like it's not the best. It's very rare that they don't have a great product, but this one is, you know, made somewhere else. Close to My Heart doesn't make it, and I just haven't been very satisfied with it. So this is the brand I use instead. All right, just little dots all over it. Because this is delicate and has thin lines, you know, you want to make sure you've really done a good job of gluing, because they just don't have the heft to keep them down without a lot of glue. All right, now you're gonna kind of line that up, and it really is just the right length. So line it up from edge to edge along that middle line between the two papers. And then kind of hold it. Because like I said, it is kind of hard. It doesn't like to stick. Okay, so mine's a little slightly off. Hopefully that will lay down. Okay, while that's drying, we can stamp. So I didn't put my stamps on yet because I wanted to show you one way to line them up. And I hope you can see on this black. But it's Happy Birthday, and it's on top of each other. And on my Versamat, I can line those up really nicely because they've got these lines. So if you haven't gotten a Versamat yet, it's really wonderful. And then on your block itself, there's a line at the top that also can help you. Push down, and then they're right exactly how you want them. And I'm gonna get my foam. And this is gonna be sapphire ink. And with any kind of stamp, you never want to like turn the block. You go down, let it sit there for a minute, and then lift up. You don't have a lot of room to put this in here, so you're gonna have to move it over a little bit to the right. I hope that's not crooked. I wasn't paying attention there. Just let it sink for a minute. Not bad. Okay. I could have used a little more ink on that, I think. All right, next is let's put the butterfly piece together. So you're gonna need your blue, and then this piece that we stamped and colored. I think this is getting to the end. All right, and let me see how that was. They kind of had it this way. Put that in the middle, and then we'll put it on, and then we'll go ahead and build our shaker around it. So lots of adhesive on this too, because it's going to hold this shaker, which will be a little bit heavier. And this is 1.5 inches from the bottom. And then 3/8 from the side. 1.5, 2, 3, 4, there we go. And then 3/8 from the side, which basically makes it centered. And I think it's gonna pretty much run along that line between the two papers. That'll keep it centered, like that. So that point is on one line of that line between the two papers. Okay. Now, we're not gonna put the butterfly down yet because it's gonna go on the outside of the shaker. So we need to get our shaker tape. So you need this first, okay? And then you need your shaker tape and your shaker window. Okay, there's the window. And then I use, because there's film on one side, usually you can tell by looking to see which side looks duller. This looks pretty shiny, so I'm guessing that the film is on this side. And I'm pretty sure I'm right. And then I pull it back with this. Let me see, maybe I was wrong. Maybe the shiny side is the film. All right, I'm gonna have to set it down here. Yeah, I was right. So if you look at your two sides, you're gonna have one that's dull and one that's shiny. And that the dull side is the side that has the film on it. Take it off. Try not to get fingerprints on it. But you are gonna take your anti-static pouch. And this is one of the things that's gonna help with your beads. And just kind of get a little anti-static on each side. And you know what I did? I just kind of scratched it because I had a bead that was stuck to that anti-static pouch. Okay. I'm gonna wipe it a little bit because I kind of scratched it. All right, that should be good. All right, set that aside. And we're gonna put the foam tape on next. So you got your, this is what your piece looks like. You've got 3 squares. The big one for the really big shaker, and then the medium one for the medium shaker, and then the small one. All the other parts are just now extra foam tape you can use. They're not meant to necessarily go on this card. I just save them because, you know, free foam tape, basically. Now, find your center of your white piece. Yeah, it's gonna cover up some of the dots you did, that's okay. These weren't meant to be shaker cards, that's why. Okay, leave the non-sticky on for now. Take your anti-static pouch, go inside, trying to make sure you're getting some of that anti-static powder on the inside edges, because those are sticky, which means that your little beads or whatever else you put inside the shaker is gonna, try to go towards those sides that are sticky. And we don't want those to do that. Because you want them to shake, you don't want them to get stuck. So if you can kind of unstick that whole area. Here's another trick for keeping your beads from getting too staticky, is put your whole anti-static pouch in there. And then you can just shake those beads around it. And that also will help take some of that static out of there. Okay, and then carefully take it out. There we go. And you're gonna need a little thing to get your beads out of wherever you keep them. So I just happen to have this little tiny IKEA spoon. And don't use too many. Like I'm gonna use like 1/4 of a teaspoon for this small one here. And that maybe not even that much. So right there is a good amount. Let me bring that up so you can see. Because if you get too many, your little clear piece isn't gonna lay down flat. And that's gonna make it so that your shaker things don't shake, and you don't want that. All right, now pull, and this is where you wanna be careful, because you don't want those little beads flying around. So get your sticky piece off, protective paper or whatever you wanna call it. And then we're gonna take your, this is important because it's hard. You got to line it up kind of right the first time. Try to line it up one edge. I'm going to the side here and one edge at a time. And you'll watch the beads sometimes will jump right to your plastic unless you've really powdered it well, which I did this time. And I'm just going to push that down outside edges where it's not going to show my fingerprints. And then now you're going to use your glue. Or, honestly, I think this sometimes works better with the runner. So I think I'm going to use the runner because sometimes the glue just doesn't like to adhere to the plastic. So I think this works a little better, even though it's hard to get it kind of right on there. All right, let's pull this back in and then just line that up with that square. Press it down. And now you got your shaker. See, works beautifully because you follow all those steps, and that's really going to help. Grab your butterfly. Now you can pop it up. I think I will. So I'm going to grab my, I've got all these extra pop dots, right? So I'm going to grab that, put one on each wing. And I don't know, maybe a little bit in the middle. See if I got a room. Okay. Can you hear that train? The metro goes by every hour or so. I hardly ever hear it. It has to be really quiet in here like this. This, of course, could be a freight train. We sometimes get those too, but the metro is what takes everybody into work every day. And it's so fun to just jump on that and go down to Chicago for the day. All right, just like that. And then our other little piece, we also want some foam tape. And I'll need to cut a little because it's narrower. Let me see where my scissors are at. How you doing? Everybody doing good out there? I'm just gonna cut one of these in half. Oops, I cut the outside. Shoot, don't ever do that. Don't make that mistake because that's gonna be my shaker. So pull it out first and cut it. And I'm gonna put it right here, lower right, and stick your butterfly on. And then all we have left is a couple sparkles that were flying around here. Here we go. A small and 2 large. Grab your piercing tool. The large goes up here, upper right there. And then one right on the shaker area. And then the little one You know, everything in threes. Odd numbers look better, more pleasing to the eye. Just like that. Okay, and this card is finished. See, that shaker wasn't a problem at all. Let's get to work on card 2. We're gonna do some prep. First of all, you're gonna need this big piece and your foam. I'm gonna do a little stamping on this. So we've got a large swirly here. Grab this block. And that's gonna be in sapphire. Let me pull my sapphire ink. There we go. And let's ink that up with a swirl at the top. And it just, oh, something look, yeah, that's, okay. So here's the thing that we're gonna do different. So last time, it didn't matter, you know, where you put everything on here. But this time it does, because we've got a bigger piece of white paper here. Our shaker is taking up a lot of space. But we also have to be very aware that we don't want to do any sentiment or anything that is going to be hidden by this, right? So everything has to fit within that frame. So you could put this down, or you can just remember that it's about a 1/4 inch in, and everything needs to be within that 1/4 inch. So I'm going to put this a little bit upper middle, like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is stamp the sentiment. So we don't want that sentiment to go too low. So that's going to be thinking of you. And grab your block. I'm going to grab this one because my other one's already holding a stamp. And I'm going to line that up by the line so I can see that I'm getting it fairly straight here. Okay. I think that's straight. That's an oddly shaped stamp there. Okay, this is going to be in grape. So put that away. Grape flew away. Here we go. Okay. Now, this is where we want to get, it's important. So you can take your turquoise, because we're going to do that. I don't want to get ink on my fingers. Think that there's a 1/4 inch here, right? So you're going to go up higher. And on this, we're going to do a little background of turquoise. That's going to go under this sentiment. I'm trying to estimate where that 1/4 inch is. If you feel like you can't do it on your own, stick this in here and hold it down while you do it. See, right now, I know that everything's going to fit. So let me do this little bit of shimmer. Just do a... And I think it'll probably be dry enough to stamp. If not, then you guys will know to wait a minute, but I think I'm gonna be good on this. So I'm gonna ink that up and going right over that. And I know that I'm now within that frame. Okay. And then if you wanna keep the frame down, we're also gonna do those little dots again. And those are going to be in the glacier. So get your little dot stamp, glacier ink, and we'll do, they kind of go around the swirly thing. Just 3. Like that. Pull that whole thing off and you're done with that part. Next is, we'll get our butterfly going. That's going to be with the black ink. And your butterfly, which is also quite dirty. I need to get these washed. I've been using them a ton. All right. Get that on your butterfly. And gonna let that dry for just a second, even though it really doesn't need it. And then let's do this last little part. So get your little swirly, sapphire swirly thing here. We're gonna glue this on the top of this purple piece and then trim it. So you won't need glue all the way to the outer edges. And then we'll go back in and color that butterfly. All right, lay that down there. Hold it down. Why don't we let that dry before we cut it? So let's go back to the butterfly. Grab all your 4 colors. On this one, it looks like they use the turquoise. Let me see. Okay, turquoise on the lower wings, or kind of the middle parts of the wings, and then but the upper part looks blue. So let's start with the blue, and that's going to be this part. So the upper 2 parts of the wings. Do your nice outline. Same for the other side. And there. And then also it kind of looks, it's so hard to tell on this. It looks like they did these bottom parts here with the blue too. And then the middles are the turquoise. And they did one of the stripes in pink, so we'll do that too. And then the dots are in pink. If you have markers, you can use those. I just brought my watercolors home. Just regular watercolors could work on this. However you want to color it. And then it looks like they did maybe the purple on the body, but just lightly. And yeah, that's pink. The rest of it is pink. So the dots. Now, of course, it doesn't matter. So if you get anything differently than what they did, it's not going to matter because all these colors. So right in the middle of me speaking, my husband called, and it completely stopped the tape. So I I was at the point where we were just finishing putting in the little pink dots. So let's go ahead with your shimmer brush next, and let's blend everything. So sorry about that little gap there, but husbands. So I guess I need to make sure. All of a sudden my phone has been a little jumpy, so that when I'm recording, sometimes things that normally would not stop the recording suddenly stop the recording. So I guess I'm gonna have to put it on airplane mode every time I record now. But I'm just going over these now, bringing that blue color into the center and then blurring out those lines that we drew, and then a little pink, just go over the pink. I'm gonna go over here and do the blue over here. I'm bringing that color from the outside edges into the center. It's so simple. So if you've not tried this yet, it's so easy. These colored pencils are really simple to use. You don't even have to completely color in. So I just did the outlines, and I'm bringing that color in to the center and then just blurring those lines out with a little more shimmer. And then go over that pink lightly. And I need a little bit more. This brush is getting old. I've definitely used it forever. Okay. I'm gonna go back over this blue a little bit more with that. Okay, now down to the turquoise. Bringing that color in and blurring the lines. And then over the pink. Same over here. Yeah, he's calling to tell me that he wants to go to some kind of hockey game. He's been invited to a hockey game, and do I mind? No. That's more scrapbooking time for me. It's more time for me to chill out, and I got to clean the house because my son's going to be here while I'm gone for my retreat. And so I love my husband very much, but oh, do I love my private time. Okay, just bring those colors in. Anybody out there agree with me? Okay, and then a little bit on that purple in the middle. Okay, set that aside to dry, and then if I didn't miss anything on the video, the next part was to cut these off. So just turn this part over and just trim it flush with the edge. Okay, whoa, that popped off easy. And then we'll just, now in the directions for the first card that we made, we ripped this. We're not gonna do that this time because it won't show very much if you rip it. So I'm gonna leave it all the way down to the edge. And let's put this card together. And I'm gonna pause for a minute and turn this whole thing on airplane mode so that I don't get interrupted again. Okay, well, we're letting that butterfly dry. I think we got everything, yep. Let's put this card together. You're gonna need your ruler. And the first piece is the purple, the long purple strip, and that is going 1/2 inch down from the top. So get your ruler up there, and it's this piece here. So we're just gonna line that up against the ruler. Hold your ruler steady, and then it won't, everything won't go crooked. And then just line it up against it. Ruler is your best friend. Okay, the rest of them are gonna be easy because, except for that last purple one, we will have to measure. But the rest of them just line up against each other. So now we were doing the pattern piece. Your pattern won't look like that on the back because I'm using bulk here. But just gonna go like that. And then the big purple. Will go right here. All very simple to put on. Take your white piece and we're gonna tear that. It's at about 1/2 inch, but I'm doing maybe more 3/8, 1/4 inch to 3/8. And tear it towards yourself. And then that just goes at the top of the purple. So right along that line between the two pattern papers. Easy peasy. And then this piece that we had is gonna go in 7/8 inch. 7/8. Okay. About there. And hold that ruler down. Match it up to the top and the bottom. Okay. Next is our stamped piece that we used. Now this one is about, I believe, 5/8 inch away from the sides, just approximately, and then about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. So I'm going to eyeball it this time. And just try to get that centered, but it is about 5/8 inch away from the side, about 1/4 inch away from the bottom. Okay, and I see that I went a little bit crooked down there, so I'm just gonna trim that a little bit flusher. Is that a word? Okay, now let's build our, and I gotta make sure I have the right piece, because guess what happened right in the middle of my thing? So let me, I'll have to grab another one of my adhesives, so hold on. What's nice about these little packets is they've got all your acetate that you need. I think it makes two of each size, I believe so. And then you've got the big foam pad, right? So we talked about the outside one. This time we're gonna use the medium one. So that's in the middle here. And you're gonna want to pull it off and try to maintain its shape. In that nice rectangular shape. So don't stretch it. Okay. Trick is line up. I try to line up with the bottom first. And you're just trying to follow the lines of the piece of paper that you've got down there. This is where undo comes in handy. If you don't have undo, make sure you get some. Amazon sells it. Press that all down. What do we do next? We powder, right? Because this is sticky inside. So we're trying to get those inside edges. Plus, as we're doing that, you're automatically getting powder inside of the whole shaker so that it won't be staticky and that the beads won't just cling. We want them to move, right? So get those inside edges. And then let's take our plastic off first, and then we'll put our beads in. So look for the dull side. That side. Let's see, that's pretty shiny. I'm thinking it's this side this time. And if I'm wrong, that'll be going to the other one. Nope, I'm not wrong. Pull the film. The film is only on one side, and that's the side that's kind of dull colored. And I'm just going to gently powder one side. You don't really have to powder both sides. Only the side that's going to touch the beads. So I'm going to, that's going to be my upside here, because I want to put our beads in next. Get your teaspoon. This one you can add a little bit more, so maybe half a teaspoon. And then, you know, kind of push them down a little bit, because you want this to all lay pretty flat once you put your plastic on. So I'm going to put the side down that I de-staticked, and take your tape off. We don't want those little beads popping, because they tend, you know, when you move it, when you're pulling things off and stuff, they tend to pop up and move around. And if you didn't anti-static this enough, you're going to see they're going to cling to the plastic. So let's see how well I did. Start again at the bottom, and then lay it gently down onto that rectangle. And none of those jumped up. So now I'm just going to take my spoon and make sure all that adhesive is adhering. And then we'll test it. Let's see. Hey, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now we need to put the frame on. That's gonna go like that. And again, I feel like the runner is gonna be better for this. I have used the glue and it's worked, but I just, you know, unless you have a thicker glue, maybe more of a Elmer's type, you know, the crafter's glue, but the one that's kind of comes out like Elmer's might work a little better. But because this is shiny, you know, it's smooth, and so the regular glue has a little bit more trouble. And then just lay that all down so that it matches up like that. Then we want to put on our butterfly. And we've got plenty of foam tape. So I'm just going to grab it right off of these. And I'm going to put that up so that it looks like the line we stamped looks like it's coming out of the tail of the butterfly. Sort of. The path of the butterfly, right? So kind of put his tail. Not that butterflies have tails, but sort of around that area. I see I didn't do it on my example card. Look, he needs to be turned. It's not exactly going the right direction there. All right, and then when we initially did this, the Close to My Heart way, you added 3 sparkles, but because the 3 sparkles are basically supposed to go on this paper that's under that, we don't need it because we did a shaker instead. So skip those sparkles and save them for something else. So that card is done. Let's get started with card number 3. Do our prep first. You're gonna need this strip right here, and there's 2 strips that are similar. This is the thicker one. This one is going to be on this side, and this will be on the light side. So the light side is what we're gonna be stamping here. We're gonna need your big swirly thing here. I just washed these, so I'm hoping that they're going to stick well. And your foam. And then we're using grape. And I'm going to kind of put something under this because I don't want to stamp on my foam. grape. And you're just going to kind of make a design on here. It doesn't have any rhyme or reason, just you're filling up this piece with a little bit of that. So yeah, you know, a little bit there, or maybe a tiny bit there. A little random stamping, basically, okay? And that's done. And we've got our happy birthday piece I want to do next, because I think that's grape too. Yes. All right, so here's a couple of things on that. The happy birthday works great when you're doing the regular card, because this little piece, the square, and we cut our square just slightly different, I think. And I hope I put that on the cutting instructions right. Hope so. Anyway, the square is a little bit bigger on the original card, plus the birthday doesn't have to be shortened, which is going to have to be shortened for our shaker card because the frame is not going to fit it in there. So here's the frame right there. So we're going to do the happies first, and you're going to have to really get it tight in here, okay? This is a time when you could also go use a sentiment that's smaller, but I wanted to try to work with what we have. And you ink it up, and then we're going to do it 3 times. So I'm just going to kind of leave that frame on there, and I also am going to go close to the frame at the top, stamp it once, move it down a little bit, just a little. Don't re-ink. Move it down a little bit, a little. We got to get that birthday in there. Okay, there's not a lot of room for birthday, so here's what we have to do. There's 2 things. So one thing, and it's okay to do this, you can cut your stamp at the word day. You can cut your stamp at the word day. I'm not going to do that today just because I know a lot of you freak out at the thought of that. So here's another option. I'm going to put the word birthday on my block, and then I'm going to use some removable labeling tape. We've got something like this. It's awful. The one that close to my heart it's blue. It's awful. Don't buy it. It just doesn't stick like this stuff does. And actually, I need this to be a sharper edge. I think I'm going to actually cut a little piece here. Big scissors. And I'm going to mask. And it's not that hard to do. The main thing is we want to get the word birth in there without the word day. So you couldn't put it on like this. You can actually stick it to the word day and stamp it. Or you can stick it down here. I'm going to think that it's going to actually go better if we just cover the word birth, or cover the word day there. Re-ink. I don't know if that's in camera. And then right under the happy, put the word birth. Like that. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, so we know that didn't work because the last time I did it on here. So we're going to turn it over. I'm going to redo my happies. And I'm keeping the mistake in. And actually, I've got a little bit of ink that went right through there. I think that's going to go on the frame, though, so I'm not going to worry about that. The frame will hide it. Okay, let's do our happy again. I'm going to put this on so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that will cover it once we get it. And I'm going to do these happies again. Right close to the frame at the top. And then you can take it off if you want to, but just make sure it's going right under. Do not re-ink. And one more time. Okay, now let's try the birth again, and we will do it the different way. So I'll grab this. Okay, I'm going to mask the regular way. I was hoping that would work, but I forgot that the ink would get on the bottom. So good learning. All right, so where's my birthday? See why I like to cut my stamps? Don't have to worry about any of this, but let's do it. So I want to get this under here. So I'm going to mask. It's almost going to go, I'm just going to kind of put about 1/4 inch over. And I'm going to be careful when I ink also to try not to get any of the day inked. I'm just gonna go right off the edge of the stamp here, and then I'm gonna look and make sure. Now with that mask down, I should be able to get that word birth in there. And it did, and that worked really well. Okay, and now we want to do the same thing with the word day. So, but on this side, I'm going to put it in a little further because the word day is shorter, right? So I'm almost putting that masking tape under the eye. And this time I'm going to move this over a little bit. Other thing you can do, matter of fact, I might as well show you this too, is sometimes you can wrap the stamp. So if I wrap the word birth up there and just keep the word day on there, I'll show you on the scrap. See, you can also do that. So that's another option. But let's say that we were to do it the other way. First, you want to wash your stamp, which I didn't do. Okay. And now I'm going to just try just to ink the day, just for a backup for that mask. And then I'm going to put the word day here, right next to the mask. Okay. And I managed to do a pretty good job there. Okay. And remember, this blob is going to be covered up. So that's a couple different options for you to do it. Cut it, wrap it, mask it. All right, now that's, oh, we do want to, I don't think this actually showed once I put my frame on, but they did do a dot of the 3 little dots right next to the word happy. So to try to get them in, let's put it over here instead. And then maybe one down here. So that way it will still show, instead of trying to get it over here, the frame's gonna cover it. We'll need that later, so keep that on your block. And the last thing is the bee. So get your black out. And we'll color this. If you're not a colorer, you're probably not gonna like the it's because a lot of coloring on this whole set. Okay, bee. And hold it for a second. And then we'll just color that in. Okay, let's see how they did the bee. So on the bee, it looks like his body is blue or turquoise. That might be turquoise. And then the wings are the purple. And I'm looking to see, yep, turquoise and key purple. I actually put the list on that this time. So his body is blue. So what I did was, or turquoise, I just kind of went around the outline of where all of the lines were. Your artist really helps you when you do that. It also works with markers too. You kind of know where to put your darker markers because of that. And then the purple around the wings. And we'll just bring that color in with our shimmer brush. Just bring that color in, dab it right into the outline that you did, and just kind of draw it towards the center. It's so simple. And it gives it a nice kind of a wash color, like a watercolor. So, you know, you're not getting real harsh lines because these are kind of delicate colored cards. If you look at the pattern, it's all very water color oriented. Soften those lines. Draw the color in and soften the lines. Like that, okay. Move those out of the way, let them dry. And we'll put the card together. Card piece. And our first piece is the big blue. This is the gave me trouble, so that I had to have you add in an extra piece of glacier to make the shakers, because there's just no way with this big piece being cut out that you were going to be able to fit also the big shaker. So this goes right in the center. Looks like about a 1/4 inch all around or so. This would be cool dry embossed. This would be cool put through your embossing machine with any of your embossing folders. All of them would look good with that. Next piece, 3B, is the one we stamped, and that is going to go in 3/4 of an inch. So about there from actually 3/4 of an inch from the right hand edge, not just from the blue, but from the whole right hand edge of the card. Hold your ruler. And then it's going to go flush with the top and the bottom of that blue piece. Okay, like that. Next piece lies down next to it, and that's the dark side of the wisteria. And again, flush with the top and the bottom there. And then we've got the big pattern piece. You're going to have to cut it, dovetail it. Go up about a 1/4 inch or so, maybe 3/8. Cut from the sides to the middle. Why won't somebody make a punch to do that? Wouldn't that be nice? Somebody probably has. Okay, and that's going to go up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And it's going to also stay right on that blue. So 3/4 of an inch. Like this. And make sure it lines up with that blue. And then above that, 2 inches up, will be the other piece, the blue. And that needs to be dovetailed too. 1/4 inch. Come in from each side. All right. And that will also stay right up against the blue, or well, glacier, if you want to call it. And then our purple, now they popped it up. I'm not going to pop it up because I've got that big, shaker coming. So it looks like, are we using dark side, or I think we're using light side, must be. And this one is going to be 1/2 inch from the side and 1/2 inch from the bottom. All right, like that. And 1/2 inch from the bottom. And now we've got our little happy birthday piece. And that's got about a 1/8 of an inch or so at the top, and then 1/4 of an inch on the sides. And yep, let's just go ahead and make our shaker. Let's see if I've got one of them here. I won't have to jump up. I did a lot of shakers earlier, so there's one. Okay. So this is the smallest acetate, and we're going to take the smallest tape from the middle, which is this one here. Just pull that out. Try to keep it shaped right. It is sticky. We don't want it to go off. And then line that up on your square. I do one side at a time. See how that looks with a happy birthday there. Hey, everything got in. Yay. All right. And then we're going to powder the inside. Get it all over it so there's no adhesive left on that inside part. Then get your little spoon. And my spoon has disappeared. Here it is. Now this is a small one again, so maybe quarter or less of teaspoon. And I'm going to take this plastic is already coming off so I can see easily which side it is. And it definitely has static because it was holding on to my, I got quite a bit of powder there, so I'm just gonna wipe it off on my dress so there's not quite so much. I want it to actually be seen. Okay. Now carefully bring up the protecting paper. Turn this over anti-static side down and line it up over the square. Take your spoon or whatever, push that adhesive down into it so none of those beads escape. And now we just need this piece. I'm gonna put runner. See, these are not hard at all. You can whip these babies out and you're gonna be so impressive. Shaker cards, people love. I'd like to do a little bit more fancy cards like this year and teach you guys. All right, see, very easy. Now, so in the normal card, the sparkles go right here on the happy birthday piece. And do I have, where's my sparkles? There's 2. There's supposed to be 3. One in mine has disappeared. So I'm gonna just use 2, but you guys will probably have, oh, here it is. There's the big one, okay. All right, so get your piercing tool out. We're just not gonna put them in the exact same place. And so I'm gonna put it under. It's so funny, I didn't use my other one as a guide this whole time. I just looked at the instructions. Because I do right here on the thing holding the camera have my example card. So put the big one right in the middle underneath. And then that'll fill up that space too, see? One on each side. Like that. Okay. That's the sparkles. Let's get our little bee. And I think what I did on this was I really popped this up twice. So I put a piece here, pulled off the paper, and then put another piece. So I doubled up on that so that it would be at the height or a little higher than the actual shaker. So just like that, and lean it over it. And that card is done. Fun. Okay, we're on our last card. Sunshine and happiness. This is going to really, the shaker is going to take up a lot of room on this card. So let's start with the prep. And you're going to need the glacier strip. You're going to need the larger than normal white rectangle. Sorry. And your little mini butterfly. So on the glacier strip, using grape ink, you're going to need your little tiny dots. We sure use those a lot on this, right? This one, they have you line them up pretty evenly, which I will do. If that's difficult for you, no big deal. Do a random stamping, okay? You don't have to do it exactly the way they do it. And when I made mine before, I wasn't very good at doing it. So I'm just gonna look through the block and try to place it evenly next to the dots that I previously stamped. And just do the best I can on this. I really messed it up on the example card. But guess what? Most of it gets covered by the shaker, so you'll never know anyway. So you only really have to be good kind of on the ends, towards the end. or just random stamp it all over the place. This is turning out pretty good. And that's why it's so nice to have clear blocks. It was why I never got into stamping before, is I just was too much of a perfectionist to use those wooden blocks, because I felt like, oh my gosh, I can't see what I'm doing. And that was just always a big issue. It was one of the reasons, because I had a, I love Stampin' Up! Too, by the way. I think they're a great company. I had a cousin who was a Stampin' Up! Person, and she was always trying to get me to join. And I think the wishing is going to be in Glacier. And I wanted to, you know, I wanted to, because I wanted to hang with her and everything like that. But I just knew that I had an issue with the cards myself. Okay, looks like, yep, it is Glacier. So Glacier is next, and you're going to find the word wishing. And so because I felt like, oh, I don't even know how to make cards, because I've never made them, because I always, was too much of a perfectionist for it. So I told her no again and again and again. And then I was at a crop with my other friend, Michelle. And she was a close to my heart person. And I was much more of a scrapbooker, obviously, because I didn't do the cards. And she started talking to me about it, and I realized that was it was pretty oriented at that point in time to cards, or to a lot of scrapbooking, and just like that. And I don't think that turned out very good, so I'm going to put a little more ink on it. We're going down. Remember, trying to keep it more in the center, because the shaker is going to be on the outside. I'm just going to press a little bit harder, a little more ink, see if I can get that better. And she said, you'd really be good at this, blah, blah, blah. And I finally got talked into it. And one of the reasons was because I really liked the clear stamps. And I thought, well, okay, I could do that. Although I did tell her at the beginning, now we're doing Sunshine and Happiness, that I was only going to really work on selling the scrapbooking stuff. And it turned out, after a while, this is going to be in Sapphire. After a while, all my customers, most of my customers were card makers. That is not the same anymore. But for the longest time, they were all card makers. And so I learned, but it was so nice to be able to see through the blocks. Is my whole point. Sunshine and Happiness right under that. And do we have some little dots? Yep, we got some of those little Glacier dots. I think they did them in Glacier. Yeah, okay. So again, those little tiny dots. I'm gonna clean mine with my finger, because I don't have my chamois here. And do, let's see, a couple dots over by the word happiness, and a couple by the top of the S on the sunshine. Okay, I believe that is it for that part. And then let's stamp our butterfly. So that was all a long-winded way to say that the clear blocks changed me. It really made a difference. All right, now you're gonna need your black to stamp this little butterfly. And you know what? I got good at stamping, and I think I'm pretty good at making cards. And I still love to scrapbook too. So it all worked out in the end, and I picked the right company for me. And my cousin's still in Stampin' Up! Too. And I have a lot of friends who are Stampin' Up! People. I love that company too. Okay, I cannot find the top of my ink. I need to close that up. There it is. Okay. All right, let's color this one. So the way they colored this, it looks like, oh my gosh, look at that, guys. It's so hard to tell. I'm going to guess, I think when I did it, I decided to go with blue and turquoise, in every other one. And then I did, or was it, see, yeah, they're doing blue and turquoise, I think, And they're not, well, let me see. They're only, okay, they're using purple, turquoise, and bloom pink, no blue. So even though that looks like blue, it must be purple. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do purple. It looks like that might be purple there at the first one, and then maybe the last one. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to tell. So let's go with that. So I'm gonna do some purple, and I'm just, since it's a small area, I'm just gonna color the whole thing here and here. They really made it difficult, but of course it doesn't matter. And then it looks like they did a little purple down here, so I'll just color in this a little bit. And then I think the rest is turquoise, even though it doesn't look like it whatsoever. So I'm just going to color in those two. And you don't have to, your coloring doesn't have to be good if you're going to water it down with your shimmer brush. So I'm barely, you know, trying to go in the lines even. And then I can't tell if I'm going to say a little blue in the body. And then pink in the little circles. Let me hold it up for you. Okay. And then let's take that shimmer brush. I get a little loopy by the last one, I guess. I'm gonna just do all the purples first. All right, and then the blue. And that'll be a little bit bluish purple, which is kind of cool. And the blue's down here. And the pink. All right, let that dry. While we put together the card. Doesn't take long. Ooh, just went upside down. There we go. Okay, let's do the card. 4A is going to be the thick purple one. Again, would be awesome embossed. Mine got a little wet, it looks like. And that is, doesn't actually say, so it looks like about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. It actually does not say, and then from the top and the bottom, it's maybe geez. I'm gonna call it less than 1/4 inch at the top and bottom. But it looks like they've got at least, I mean, it's gotta be about 1/8 there. Hope that's, mine looks a little crooked. Let me see if I can pull it up. Just move it just slightly more. Okay, and then next to that is the piece that we stamped. And they put the little dots on the right-hand side. Just match that right up to the purple. Oops, it goes all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom, but still matched up to the purple. Okay. Mine's a little short, cut it a little short there. Okay, next is the blue. And we're using dark side, I believe. That'll go next to the glacier. I should use the official names. Sapphire, Glacier, Wisteria. And then the pattern paper is next. And right next to the sapphire. Like that, okay, and then our big purple piece. Okay, so here's something on this one. I'm gonna just say, if you use this, like I used it on my original card, the purple does not show at all because this shaker card is so big. So you can use it 2 ways. One, if you want some more of this purple to show on the bottom, you just split it in half. So I'm gonna do that. So you can just leave it like this, put it down, and it looks like it's 1 1/4 inches from the bottom, and then just don't worry that it's not going to show here, or you can cut it in half, which I think I'll just do for fun. And it doesn't even have to be straight because that's not going to show, right? So it's 1 1/4 from the bottom, and then I'll just guess, you know, from the top, and we'll see. So, and then from the side, it's 5/8 inch. So I'm going to put the cut side up And I'm gonna go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 1.5 inches up. 1.25 inches. Wait, do I have, yeah, 1.25, 1.25. Okay. And then this one, I'll just lift up, let me see. Oh, wait, that's not right, you guys, because it still will have the same problem. Sorry. Pull it off if you haven't already done it. Let's do it down further. We don't want the 1.25, so let's do 3/4 and see if that still won't do it. So really, we better go about 1/2 inch from the bottom if we really want that to show. And then 5/8 inch it. Okay, like that. And then the other one will be, I'll just match it to this one, 1.25 inches from the top. All right, so that truly is 1.25, but the other one, let's do 1/2, just so it'll show. And if you stuck it down while I was doing that with you and can't pull it up, leave it. It's no big deal. Okay, so I'm going to go 5/8 inch in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is 1.25 inches from the top. Okay, and I just think that's going to show more behind this piece. All right, this piece goes the whole width of the card. I think I accidentally cut a little too long. We want that to be 4.25. So check yours, and I may have just cut wrong. Check and make sure that it's 4.25. I'm going to take a little bit off of each end so that my sentiment's still centered. So it should be 4.25, and I'm pretty sure that's what I put on the cutting instructions. And then we're going to put that at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 inch from the bottom. I'm going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And also, I forgot about the spiral. We have to put that on, and that can go on before or after. It doesn't matter. It actually sits above it anyway, so let's just go ahead and do it now. And if you cut it at 5.5, it's going to be too long, which is, you know, it's supposed to be trimmed down. So that's what we're going to do. So it's going to go actually across the card at 4.25. So you could cut it ahead of time, or you can just do what I'm doing and only putting glue on the inner part of it and not all the way to the end. And then I'm just going to lay it, and then I'll cut it flush with it. Let me let that dry for a minute. Okay. And then we can start getting out your other parts. Let's see, I'll cut it. Oops, I got the bigger one. Let me find the smaller. I want the medium one, yep, okay. And you're gonna need this, and you're gonna need your anti-static. All right, I'm gonna assume it's dried. And trim. You can let yours dry a little longer if you want to pause the video. All right, let's get the middle shaker outline, foam outline. This is also another one that would have made fine, large one. You could have put it did the big shaker because everything in it is pretty flat. So that would have been fine to do an entire, and I should have done that now that I think about it, because that would have showed you the third size. But I have done videos on that before, so okay. You want to line it up really well because it's got to go right to the edges of the card. And mine's just slightly off. Let me see how it looks on the back. Doesn't look bad. And it'll be, when you put the frame on, that can hide a lot of mistakes too. So, all right, let's get the inside all done. The anti-static pouch. This is why you need one of these. If you don't have one yet, they are now, I think, back available, I believe. Okay, and a little, half a teaspoon or so of little sparkles. There's a lot of different sparkles and things that would work with these colors too. I brought in other ones because I'm doing this as a class for my retreat, but we have a whole bunch of colors that would have gone with this besides purple. And even white and clear. So, all right, let's get the, oh, it's on this side. Okay, get that film off. And powder that down a little bit. And I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit. So get a cloth if you don't want to use your clothes. And then pull this off. Carefully, because those things like to jump. And then put the side down that's got the anti-static on it. Start with the bottom. Work your way up. Now, if you mess it up, have undo on hand. You've luckily worked okay each time here. Test it, see, it's shaking well. Grab your frame, which I had in my hand 2 seconds ago. All right. And get a little adhesive on that. Now your adhesive is probably gonna be wider than the frame, so you can rub that down with your fingers if it's getting all over the place. But I haven't had any trouble with it. And then I'm gonna kind of go over to the right a little bit on mine because I went just slightly off. This really does hide a lot of mistakes. Look at that, nobody would ever know. And then we have a little piece of zip strip. So on theirs, they kind of, I'll show you what it looks like. They kind of put it down at the bottom. So you could put it here, but that is pretty high up, which means I would probably have to put a piece of foam tape there, or you could move it up just a little bit more and stick it there. So wherever you want it, I'm gonna just kind of stick it in, or you could stick right inside the frame, which is what I did with the original card. I think this time I'm gonna stick it on the edge, but not too far off the edge. So I don't have to put foam tape on it, because it holds up high. It's kind of sits up there pretty high. Okay, like that. And then let's get our butterfly. Did we have, let's see if we had any sparkles on. Yep, the sparkles are gonna go down here. Let's see if I put some in to this particular pack. I don't see them. So I have some, oh there, oh, that's the little ones. All right, let's get the little butterfly on first, and then I'll grab some sparkles. So again, I'm gonna probably pile up 2 of these to make it pop up higher than the shaker, because that shaker is pretty high. And then just turn that little butterfly like that. Beautiful. Let me grab some sparkles some more. I got a couple. But it's not necessary because you've got so many. But if you want to put a couple down here. And I'm just going to put it there. Ooh, flying. And here. Like that. And we are done. Thanks for sticking with me, guys.